Welcome everybody to tonight's version of Think Big with Doc and Bay. And Bay will be here in a second. Hope everybody is doing well. I know some of you have been having some weather out there, especially I think up top, up north, you guys been having a little weather. And then out in the out in the Midwest rather, I know the roads out there been kind of icy. I saw some of it on social media, been iced up there pretty bad. So hopefully everybody's doing good. I'm just waiting on my partner Bay. He's doing some work there in the background. They don't never end. But anyhow, he'll be on in a second. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna sit here and try to talk to you and keep you a little entertained by myself. But we got a big show tonight. But we also got a big announcement. I could go ahead and make that announcement while waiting on Bay. It's on February the 8th. And that's actually Super Bowl week. And we're going to be doing the Doc and Bay show live from Vegas. So we're going to be out there amongst all that energy. We're going to be out there. It's going to be live. It's going to be epic. And hopefully you guys can come on live with us out there. You never know who we might run into because we're going to be out there. It's a good time for us to just be out there, be in that atmosphere. The Doc and Bay show, we want to cover all the major events like that and bring it to you all live and then also have an opportunity to introduce Hidden Wealth. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. And but I just want to kind of give you guys there's Bay.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing there, sir?
I'm doing absolutely amazing.
Good.
I'm doing absolutely amazing. How about yourself?
Audience about Super Bowl week. Doing the Doc and Bay show out there in Vegas. So yeah, looking forward to that. That's big for us, huge for us to be out there live and covering that event. And who knows who we may run across out there? You never know. But how's your day been?
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, what a time to be alive. So how your day been? Huh?
Oh, it's been absolutely spectacular.
You get to the gym?
Yes, sir. I ran home to make it to the Doc and Bay show.
Okay, good. Good. Well, I'm glad you could make it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm excited for tonight's show. It's going to be definitely a great show. To hit a few topics and just to get thoughts from our viewers, right? Because I believe that everyone has their opinion, has their principles, have their way of living. Above all, so I'm excited about tonight's show. How about you? Did you make it to the gym?
Yeah. I went earlier. Yeah, I went in and had a nice workout. Enjoyed myself. It was nice. Always a time of relaxation for me when I get to the gym. And just get my workout, put my music in my ear, and just go for it. So yeah. But yeah, I'm excited about tonight's show. You came up with a killer topic, and I was, so hey, I'm ready to just jump right in. So, where do we start?
Hey, Doc, with the things that go on in the world and in the business world and personal world and entertainment world, it's a lot of controversy going on right now. I wouldn't call it, well, some people call it controversy. Mm-hmm. I guess anything that we would say is not in alignment is considered controversy, right? Yeah. So, it's a lot of things going on. And with those things that's going on, it sparks something that's a question. And that question overall can stir some people in any direction, depending on what side of that question they have principles on, depending upon the situations they may occur in business and in personal life. So the question is, when we're dealing in personal life or business overall, to have success in life overall, is it okay to be politically correct or be brutally honest?
and when you say, hey, this is gonna be the topic, whether to be politically correct or brutally honest. Then, because opinions that can jump all over the place from that. But I think we need to set some boundaries for the audience, right? So because we all got different opinions of what politically correct may look like, or what being brutally honest may look like. So let's define that for me. Define that for me.
Being okay, let's start off with the brutally honest, because a lot of people may look at being brutally honest as a negative just as well as being politically correct, depending on what side of the field they stand on, or principles may lie in. Being brutally honest is being honest no matter what the situation is in front of anybody at any particular time, in any moment, in any situation, in any setting. No matter if that honesty may hurt the feelings of another, hurt the opinions of another, or may go against the plan at hand, that's being just brutally honest. No matter if it's an opinion or a fact, it's like being a child. A child, if you have a child and the child is running around in there, they may be amongst grown people, right? Now I've seen King do this. I had to correct King, and I don't know if should be correcting him at this particular time, but you don't want to embarrass anyone, because you don't know if a person may take offense to it. So you have to apologize for the child in certain cases,
right?
And mostly in all cases. But you may have a child, and the child may meet someone else of being grown, and the grown person may speak to the child, and the child may say, "Oh, your breath stink," right? That's brutally honest, right? Being a child, right? And I wouldn't say being a child, but in a child sense of spirit.
Right.
Just telling the truth no matter what at that particular time or moment. Being politically correct is, I would say, is playing it safe, right? You may know that things may not be as they are at that particular time, but to save face, or to save a deal, or to let things smooth over at those particular moments, or to revisit the truth at a different moment, is being politically correct. Not to be offensive, doing your best not to be offensive at those particular moments. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. Those two definitions.
Well, they're good. I mean, okay. So that's somewhat set up the parameters. Because now I got to understand it. Brutally honest, whether it hurts the person feeling, or it throws them under the bus, or that's a hard one though. That's a hard one, because it depends on the circumstances. You just want to throw somebody under the bus, or call someone out in a situation where it could be that it could put them in a bad light. I mean, I don't know. Brutally honest, being honest is one thing, but when to be silent is another thing. You don't have to compromise your integrity. You can just not say anything, right? So versus being brutally honest, which may put a person in a situation where, I wouldn't want to do that to someone unless I felt it was for the betterment of them. And then, even then, I'd be somewhat apprehensive. But now when it comes to being PC or diplomatic, or then again, it depends on the circumstances, depends on the situation. So I think it's a case-by-case basis, because I think there's a time and a place to be brutally honest, but there's also a time and a place to be brutally silent, to just not say anything. But then there's a time and a place where you may have to take a softer position, not to compromise your character or your morals, but sometimes you got to find a middle ground so that you can have an harmonious ending to something, right? I think the world would be better sometime, Bay, if PC overrode honesty that was brutal in its nature, that offended someone. I mean, that's how I see that. I just don't want to be so
Yeah,
honest.
I would say the same thing that you say, depending upon the situation. We've seen many things in the past in our own lives, and even what's currently going on. Uh, Individuals, they're telling the truth because they feel like they have been attacked over many of years, and things have been stolen from them for many of years. So they feel it's the time to tell the truth because they feel like their character has been attacked over years. But in their truth and brutal honesty, it may hurt uh, those individuals in which this person is speaking about, but it's making a lot of other things come to light. And you have a lot of people that's backing and asking questions now to solidify those truths, those brutally honest truths that's being shared. In the public, I think in the public, when you're in a public setting, I think being brutally honest is okay um, in certain situations, in certain scenarios, but personally, in personal situations, I think you should be brutally honest in private. I think being brutally honest in private is a lot better than being brutally honest in the public overall for uh, speaking to someone uh, direct, right? It's amazing because in leadership, this is what we're taught all the time. If you want to address another leader or someone you consider a leader, or in a situation where you want to do some corrections to someone's actions, you take them alone in private and you do that. You don't do it in front of everyone else because even though you may be correct with what you're telling them, it's inappropriate to do it in front of correction in front of everyone else. Even in the military, you have a gunnery sergeant that's talking to a sergeant. That gunnery sergeant isn't going to correct that sergeant in front of all of the troops that's beneath them because it what we call de-edifies that sergeant as it being a sergeant in certain situations, in certain settings. Now, of course, in a training setting, yes, but in a real live setting, a war situation, it's you fix this quick,
Right.
because it's a life and death situation.
Right. But in the other case, then it is right to, if there was some wrongs that happened and people use their voice to expose the wrongdoers, even if, yeah, in that case, yeah, I think the voice should be used to be brutally honest when it pertains to certain. For instance, when the Black Lives Matter movement was going on, and people were being brutally honest about some of the experiences that they had, or family members, or people that they may have known, and a lot of this has not. A lot of these stories had not even surfaced to that level that the general public even had any idea that they had occurred, because they were somewhat kept within the community. But now these voices started to be brutally honest and started to say these certain things was happening, and it caught a tailwind, and before we know it, we had a global movement, because so many could relate to certain type of wrongs that they had experienced. And so people were being brutally honest about that. And so there were some who played it in the middle and stayed politically correct. And that's a tongue twister for me for some reason. Maybe because I'm left-handed. but so I just use PC. But some played it safe, and they didn't want to take a stance either way. So they kind of stayed lukewarm. They didn't want to get in the fire. But there's a time that you have to let your voice be known, and it may sound brutal, but to cover up certain wrongs, isn't that even more brutal? Isn't that even more brutal? Right?
Yeah, it's the saying. If you don't stand for anything, I mean, if you don't stand for a purpose or a cause, you would die for anything, right? You've heard that saying, right? And then, we've heard many of stories, historical stories.
If you don't stand for anything, you'll fall. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Then we heard stories in the past, about kings and their councils, and the councils didn't take the king's side and tried to play both sides, and the king ended up killing off this council, getting a whole new council. We've heard many stories like that, right? So I think, of course, that I don't think it happens nowadays. Maybe it does, but not in the form of death, but in the form of killing people's careers. If
or silencing people.
Yeah, what they call it, blackballing people, right?
You take away their voice. I mean, So, but that's why now everybody got a camera, they got a video, and everybody's a reporter right now, right? So now people are not having to use their voices much, because now they're using pictures and videos, and you don't know who put them out there. So they don't, before, if you wanted to get a story out there or something like that, it would be attached to your name because it had to come from your voice. And so somebody will hear you saying it. And so some were fearful of saying it, even though they know the honesty of it could make conditions better overall, but for the short time, it may make conditions worse for them. So they wouldn't say anything. But now, with a cell phone, anonymously, people is out there. And then sometimes they can cover up a digital footprint in a way that they can just leak stuff. So now it makes it a little bit more difficult for one to do certain wrongs and get away with it. But the person who exposed them don't always have to face repercussions, because sometimes they don't know who it was that did it. Because you can be out in public and do something, and there may be 20, 30 cell phones around, could be video you right away, and you don't know who may be live in you right at that moment, right? So, being brutally honest now has taken on a different form. It's taken on a different form, because so much stuff being exposed now on social media, and they're not taking into consideration people feeling, their families, or anything. They just expose you. The least little thing, they don't call you up and no, they just lay you bare out there. So sometimes being brutally honest hurts the human side of humanity, right?
Yeah.
Because people do have feelings and they have families and things like that. And I'm not saying cover-ups should be cover-ups, but how you go about exposing things should be, if you're going to be brutally honest about something, make sure you got all the facts. And yeah,
I would agree too, because it, like you said, go back to the situations. If I'm walking down the street and I see someone is getting done wrong, especially a child, I'm going to be brutally honest at that particular time in that moment. I'm
Exactly.
not going to be politically
Exactly.
correct and not say anything, right?
No,
I'm
you
going to
shouldn't
be
want
brutally
to.
honest. So that put being brutally honest in the form of living by high standards, right? But if we're in a if we're in a business meeting and we're not agreeing upon something in front of doing a business deal, then I have to be politically correct under our standards in business, not
Right.
say nothing and then
Right.
handle it after the meeting and speak about what
Right.
was wrong with the conversation.
Right. That would be the way you would handle that in a situation like that.
Yep.
Um, absolutely. Um, but looking at it from another perspective, when I was mentioning that, you know, making sure that all the facts, before the cell phones and all of that, people could create a set of facts that wasn't even a set of facts, you
Yeah.
know, and be brutally honest with something that wasn't even true. But if they had more credibility than the person that they were dispelling their truth on, then that most likely was a story that people would go with, and that became that history for that individual. But now with cell phones and all of that, it forces people that claim to be brutally honest to make sure their honesty is backed in truth, and them just not making up things and putting certain cultures or even certain businesses at risk. You know, businesses have fallen because, you know, people have created certain storylines that were not factual. So I like being brutally honest when it can be backed up in fact, when it helps humanity as a whole, but not just to be used to tear down an individual or put an individual in a bad light at a bad time. No, I'm not.
So would you say being brutally honest should be used more for a defense or a shield?
I think it should be used more on offense. Um, yeah, because it's you can expose things when you enable, and that's really what you be doing when you see something that needs to be corrected, and out of respect for someone's feelings, you don't say anything or do anything, then you're somewhat enabling or empowering that person or that group or individuals or that system to continue on. So at some point, exposure is honesty because now the truth has been revealed, and then from there, let opinions be formed.
So the exposure, instead of someone saying something, the exposure of the facts is the brutal honesty
I
rather
think,
than the actual words of another being or anyone being brutally honest.
yeah, because you can when there's transparency or when there's disclosure, and sometimes that only happens when a revelation or someone reveals something about an organization or individual or a system. And then once that happened, the honesty or the truth has now been revealed, and now people can make good, educated decisions. But when honesty isn't in there, so I like being brutally honest when it brings about exposure, especially when there are systems that's in place that's causing some to have difficulty in achieving certain levels of success because of certain things that's been they've been alienated from. So I like to expose those type of systems and be brutally honest about them. Like in the last show, and you brought up something, and I put a lot of passion on it, and we was talking about it later.
Yeah.
And I was saying is that when the word slavery came up, and I put a lot of passion on it, and the reason I put a lot of passion on it is because if we don't put a lot of passion on it, the voice of it will become less and less to where it become a whisper. Almost like with the Native Americans, you don't even, I mean, the atrocities that they may have experienced is not even talked about anymore, Holly. Nobody even put any passion on that anymore. When you look at some cultures that just been just annihilated because of wars and different things, and nobody even talk about them anymore. It's some cultures that we won't even know they existed until somebody dig them up centuries later and find some skeletons and say, "Oh, who are these people? We didn't know they existed. History didn't even write about them. They was left out of history." So some things you have to put passion on and you have to put a voice on, even if it means being brutally honest, because if not, it'll get lost in history. So some things, I think you had to be very passionate about, like with the Black Lives Movement. And there was a lot of passion on that globally, I might say. And that needed to happen so that the honesty that led to the truth, so that it could be exposed some of the things that was happening that was unjust.
So what do you say? What do you say about being brutally honest or politically correct and negative things happen after that? Those consequences. Maybe you may be singled out because a group of people don't agree with you,
Right.
And they could be politically correct. And you can have a whole group of people that say, "No, you just keep it real. Just keep it real. Just do it all. Just tell the truth. Man, why you just quiet down?" Like it's a lot of people saying, "Hey, none of these quote unquote comedians are saying that Cat Williams are lying." So now it's a group of people saying Cat Williams right because ain't nobody defending themselves. Oh, they took the high road, politically correct. But it's a lot of people that stay fans and saying, "Hey, I can't deal with you because you're not defending yourself." He being brutally honest. Why don't you be brutally honest too?
Right. But like in many cases, individuals look to protect their careers and things like that. Right. So they say, "Hey, I got to feed my family." Yeah. I may have an opinion, but my opinion don't have to be public. And that does it benefit me more to be PC or to be BH? Which one benefits me the most? And so in most cases, people choose the one that benefits them the most, right? Right.
Yeah. And the
because
audience
self-preservation, right? Which one would benefit me the most?
Yeah, and the audience only want what they want, right? To be entertained.
Right.
To have something to talk about.
Right. That's why we're doing a talk show, because there's a lot to talk about. So we want to be in the space and talk about stuff too. Right. And people want to hear people talk about stuff, and they want to talk about stuff with them. So, but that's within their circle. But when you go outside the circle, and to be brutally honest, at least make sure you have all the facts. Make sure you have all the facts. Because you don't want your honesty to unveil falsehoods. You want your honesty to unveil truths. If you're going to be brutally honest, make sure your honesty is aligned with truth and not with falsehood.
Yeah.
Because you can be honest about a lie, or you can be honest about the truth. Which one you can be honest about? And it's your job to search out the facts before you start having an opinion, right?
Yeah. And how important are those facts for someone to actually search out? I think it's that's
very
the biggest,
important, especially if you're going to be talking about an individual's name. I think or a company's name, or talking about a system or something like that. I would think but sometimes social media, we all can pop off real quick, right? And then say, "Ooh, I can't take it back." And all it said is out there. Well, it was okay when it was just on the block with the, on the block with a few, and you shoot off somebody's mouth and a few ears here, and that's it. But now, when it's shoot it off, it's on social media. Boom! It can be all the way around the world. So you can't take it back.
Oh yeah.
So
So
make
what
sure you have all the facts, and make sure that your brutal honesty, I would say, Bay, at least make sure that it's factual. You know
Gotcha. You
that
know,
that is truthful.
it's funny that you say that, and you hit on last week because it sparked something in a thought in my mind now, currently, to look back to give a perfect example of being brutally honest. Malcolm X, I didn't get to personally see him speak live in that time. You know, I know you did. He was brutally honest.
Seen him live, I would have loved to have seen him live.
Oh, you didn't get to see him live, Doc?
No, I would have loved to
Well,
seen him live.
okay, well, you saw it in the moment. You read about it in the paper in the moment.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
read
right.
about it in the paper in the moment, and the things he said was brutally honest.
Right.
But in his honesty, he was standing for a purpose, a cause. But the outcome of that purpose and cause in which he was brutally honest for ultimately got him taken out by people that oppose that truth and honesty in which he stood for, and which a lot of other individuals stood for as well. Do you think that being brutally honest or politically correct can destroy not just your career, but you as a human being, life overall
Can being
in
brutally
today's
honest,
society?
do I think being brutally honest can destroy someone's career or their life? Yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah, yeah. If that honesty, even if it's not factual, you know, it can be gossip. You know, gossip has taken down a lot of people. Gossip itself. Um, no, no. I think being brutally honest. I think there's a place for that. Um, but there's also a place for humanity,
Yeah.
compassion. There's a place for that as well. Um, so I would choose compassion first, me personally. But yeah, there's a time that you have to speak up, and everybody's not called to do that. Some are not called to make those type of sacrifices like Mr. X did. We all ain't built like he was built. He's one of a kind, and he's one of a kind. You know, certain people come through life like that, and then they willing to make those type of sacrifices. They're great at making those sacrifices. So, oh, Miss Styles says something?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's a comment, some
Oh,
comments.
who?
Go ahead and put it up on the screen, Ms. Styles.
Oh, all
Right.
right. I don't know who that is.
Exposure can actually be a blessing because it creates awareness, which could reduce hidden
Okay.
evils. Yeah, that's true too. That's
Yeah.
definitely true too. But what if the people that's doing the evils are the people that ultimately have the power?
Isn't that always the case?
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about
It
it.
has not been the
What
case.
happens? What happens? What happens when someone is brutally honest or it's exposed and that person or those people or that system, particularly whatever system it may be,
Uh,
is exposed to be evil or have evil intentions,
right.
but you can't do anything about it
Right.
because they are in control, aka they're the rulers, they make the rules. Then what?
Then you can either make the ultimate sacrifice because you pretty much know how it's going to go, or you can go with the status quo.
Being politically correct.
Yeah,
Or just being
yeah.
quiet altogether. Don't say nothing. Turn your head and keep mind your business. Just go on.
And don't most of us do that in life? Because most of us we adapt to the system that we are born in, and we learn to navigate through that. We don't challenge it that much. We don't challenge it that much. And a lot of us learn that as kids, because the first rules and structure you learn is at home, right? And you know your mom and dad, they already got the structure there for you. And so you don't challenge the system that much until you get a certain age. You may try to challenge it a little bit, but for the most part, you conform and you don't challenge it. Even though you don't be brutally honest and come to the kitchen table and just say what's on your mind, unless you like king age, you can get away with it. But at a certain age, you just can't say what's on your mind. Well, you can, but then it could come with some repercussions. And if you're willing to accept the repercussions, then that's okay. Um, it just depends, man. It's hard to say that in all cases one should be brutally honest.
Yeah. You say, hey, you got another comment say, hey, being brutally honest means expressing the truth in a direct and straightforward manner without sugarcoating it,
I
softening the
like that
impact
comment. I
of
like
the
that.
message. Soften. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay. Yeah.
like that. I like
I
that.
can. Yeah. That's good. That definition is real good. So it's the
Now, I like
ultimate
that better than all.
truth.
Because if you're gonna tell the truth, tell the truth. In other words, let your truth be all truth. Don't water down the truth because it's no longer the truth. I like
So
that
does that
response.
make
Yeah.
you so being brutally honest, does that make you strong, and being politically correct make you weak? Because the way I read the definition, that seems like that's the strong side, the person with the confidence of saying the truth no matter the situation in a direct way with no fluff to it. This is it right now. You're going to get this, and you need to hear this right now because I'm strong enough to tell you this in that moment, no matter the position, no matter the situation. I'm going to tell you the truth right now. But if I'm politically correct and I know the totally opposite, I know that's the totally truth, but I do the totally opposite. Does that make me weak in character?
No. That's the risk taker you. Every one of us got a risk taker. Some of us will take a risk. So the risk taker you would just go ahead and say it and deal with the consequences later. The risk taker you would just tell the teacher, well, I ain't do the homework. But the conservative you would say, my dog ate it.
Yeah.
But the risk taker, you'll be brutally honest. I ain't do it because I ain't like the assignment, and what you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
That's saying
I think we
that's saying
all have
exactly what
been.
you feel. They ain't
I think we
sugarcoating.
all have been in
That's
those
how you feel.
situations, Doc.
In many cases, when people say stuff to you, like when a teacher would have said something to you, God bless the teachers. I love the educators. God bless them all. They do a marvelous job. But when an educator would say something, and I had one teacher, and she was, woof, I won't call her name. God bless her soul. I know she no longer here. She's in transition, but she helped make me. But back then, I didn't like her, and the things I wanted to say to her. If I'd have been brutally honest, I'd have got expelled from school. So when she asked me a question, I just had to say what was PC, not what was on my mind, because I thought she used to single me out. And she did because she saw potential in me and she knew I could go deeper and do more. And she felt that I was slacking. And that's the reason why she was pushing me so hard. But back then, I didn't understand that. So there's cases that you don't say what's on your mind. And it's probably in your best interest not to do it because first you would have hurt a person feeling I would have hurt someone feelings who was only trying to make my life better, and then it would just been disrespectful. So it was better not to say anything. But would that make me wrong for not telling her the truth when she asked me a question, but told her what I thought she wanted to hear? Because hey, she was my teacher. So what was I going to do?
Yeah. Now I believe that the truth, like we can say truth, but everyone has their own truths. from their own perspectives. So I would say let's replace truth with facts. Let the facts tell the facts.
Well, it's hard to do that because now I'll tell you why.
Okay. Okay.
Because facts are only truths at the moment in which they're said. Because they may. I'll tell you a good example.
Truths are only facts at the moment
they're said
or said. Okay.
Yes.
They're said.
Right. Because it's always changing. Like when I was in school, they said it was only 9 planets, and that was our truth. Pluto being number 9. That was our truth, but it wasn't factual. Because we found out later it was false. It was many more planets. But at the time, that was our truth, but it was not factual. So only at the time in which it was said, right? Because facts are always changing as we gain more knowledge. So it's only true at the moment in which it's said. So it's not an absolute. The only absolute truth is God, right? Everything else is a truth that's evolving.
Because God never changed. God never changed.
So that means facts are only facts as we know them today, because they may not be facts tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
They may not be. They may not be. So there's only one absolute truth, and everything else is evolving truths. Because as more be revealed, what was truth and factual then is no longer truth and factual now, right?
Yeah. Cal said I believe in a God that is absolutely true. In that case, there must be an absolute opposite to that, which is falsehood. Yeah. So, but with a constantly changing world and situations, then everything is falsehood, and the only truth or fact is God.
Well, I wouldn't say everything is falsehood, because it's reality. Reality is the moment in time in which we live in right now. What's reality right now won't be reality a second from now.
So reality is constantly changing.
But so that means facts are constantly changing.
So what is absolutely never changing that we can base
God.
Okay.
So everything else is changing. Everything else is changing. It evolves. So truths that we know today, they are true as we know them today. So they're not a falsehood, because they are true for today, because that's all the knowledge we have. So that is our set of truths. So but they may not be our set of truths tomorrow, because tomorrow more facts may be revealed, and we find out it's more than 9 planets. We say, well, that is not the truth, and neither is it factual, because more information has been revealed. But it wasn't that we was trying to create a falsehood. We created a truth around what we knew. So that was factual. It just wasn't reality, but it was the reality that we knew. But it was not the reality, because the reality was there were many more than 9 planets, but that was the reality we knew, which constituted our truth, which we wrote down as facts and recorded it in history. So now it's different.
So reality is in the moment of right now until we discover otherwise.
Or until time moves it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Reality moves with time, and truth is always embedded in reality. Truth and reality move together.
Okay. DeCarlo DC say reality change is based upon an individual who is living in that moment.
That's good.
So if everybody is living and everyone has a different reality, then what is actual truth?
That's close to a t-shirt right there. That's
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Who said that?
It's a reality change is based. That's DC. DC.
DC. Hey,
Yes,
that's a good.
sir. So it's a
That's
reality
almost a
change.
T-shirt there, DC.
Yeah. He's a reality change is based upon the individual who is living in that moment. So if we're all living in our own realities, what is actual truth to us all connected and based upon our own individual truths? What you may think is politically correct may be the totally opposite to someone else. And
That's
what
why I
you
say
think,
always get the facts. Before you're going to be brutally honest, make sure you have all the facts. Make
but
sure
the
you
facts
have
are always changing though.
but as they are in that reality and in that moment, make sure you have all of those. And if they change later, then they change later. But if you're going to speak a truth, make sure the truth is attached to facts.
Hey Doc, hold on. I keep on getting this call. In, Doc. Hold on. I don't know.
They must have known you're on the show.
Yeah, I'm on. Are you watching the show? Okay. What you say? He said, be brutally honest. We're gonna call you Mr. O. Mr. O say, be brutally honest all the time, no matter what, and God will take care of you. All right. Okay. I appreciate it. Mr. O say, be brutally honest all the time, no matter the moment.
All the time.
And God gonna take care of you.
Who's Mr. O? You know him?
Yeah. That's Mr. O.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. Well, I'm glad he called in. He said, okay, so be brutally honest all the time and God will take care of you.
Yeah, he said, be brutally honest all the time, no matter the situation, and God gonna take care of you.
No matter what.
No matter what. Well, hey, Dave Chappelle had it when being real goes wrong. Remember that on Dave Chappelle show when keeping it real goes wrong?
Right.
Yeah.
So Mr. O said we got to be brutally honest at all times, and God's going to take care of it.
He said God gonna take care of it. He said be brutally honest all the time, and God gonna take care of it.
Even if you hurt somebody's feelings.
I guess so. I don't know. Do anybody else feel like that?
Yeah, I need to hear from the audience on that.
Yeah, do anybody else feel like that? I don't know. What did Mr. Listening, quick to listen, slow to speak.
Quick to listen, slow to speak. Quick to listen, slow to speak. Okay.
Yeah. Cal say some days. Janice say, I like that. Devin say no. He say no. If I would say no to that too. If you get pulled over by the police, you know you didn't do nothing wrong. I wouldn't suggest you tell the police you didn't do nothing wrong and why you stopped me and argue with the police. Just get whatever the police want you to do. Get your ID, get your ticket, be quiet, and be on your way. Pay your little $20 ticket.
Sometimes being brutally honest can put you in a bad space. That's why I say you have to weigh the risk. You have to weigh the risk that somebody else got to come in.
Yeah, you know what studying and looking and studying people. A lot of people. What's going on right now? I keep on bringing this brother name up because he is just definitely intelligent to a high level, which I never really. It wasn't exposed to me, Doc, which was Cat Williams.
Right.
He is brutally honest and politically correct at the same time. At the same time. And that you have to be well trained, well read, and highly intelligent to be able to operate on that level. Being brutally honest.
On that level?
Yeah. Well, say that again, Doc.
You operate on that level. And so
Yeah,
yeah,
but
you are brutally honest, but you also operate in the realm of PC, but you're brutally honest.
I don't think I'm brutally honest, Doc. I don't
Well,
think.
you don't think
Well,
so?
it's in the eyes of the beholder, right? I
Well,
don't think I am.
maybe I don't see you in all different settings. So, but for the most part, I think you're brutally honest. I think people know where you're coming from. I don't think, you know. But Cat Williams, yeah, I mean, Cat, he,
Yeah,
he he's you know he's yeah he's one of those individuals that he can say certain things that others can't say, but he can say them and the public accepts it because it comes from Cat. But that's through a reputation that he built to where his honesty is accepted and his honesty has made him wealthy, but yet he knows how to not offend everybody that he come across.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
DC say he keeps records, etc. He keeps receipts, etc. Records on everyone who has a chance to affect his life. So you think
Wow.
he's saying?
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's you got to be intelligent to do that too. You have to be well. You have to be well disciplined to be able to do that. In any case,
Right.
the matter of the fact is that he could be brutally honest to an individual, but politically correct to a group at the same time. A group of people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that takes great skill and mannerisms. I think it's part of a character. I don't think that's even something that's learned. I think that's something that has to be a part of your character overall,
Right.
part of the principles in which you live. I'm I know I've been both. I wouldn't say I'm always brutally honest, but I could say I've been both in different situations
Yeah.
that has gotten even me to this point. I think we all have, right? Because we have all went through some point of our lives where we have been brutally honest at the right time and the wrong time, or always really the right time. We have been politically correct in the right time, no matter what happens after that. If we're
Right.
still here, if we're still
Yeah.
alive,
Yeah.
because we can either use it as a learning experience, I think, Doc. We can use it as a guideline.
Yeah.
It can push us to move forth. Like, we wouldn't, Doc. Me and you wouldn't be in business if I wasn't brutally honest in one particular situation at one particular time. In that moment.
Right.
Because if I wouldn't have said anything in that moment, then we would have never got to conversate and build what we're building, even doing this show.
Exactly.
So being brutally honest can actually work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being politically correct can work for you as well. As
I
long
think
as
there's a time and place for both.
yeah.
There's a time to talk, and sometimes there's a time to get up and walk. And you just got to know which is which. There's time to talk and there's time to walk. You got to know the difference. And being brutally honest, that's when you feel it's a time to talk. But when you need to be PC, that's when it's time to walk. And it doesn't make you weak because you do one or the other. Wisdom is not born out of weakness. Wisdom is born out of necessity. People say creation, but wisdom. Need make you wise. So you have to know the difference between walking and talking. We have the ability to do both. So why have the ability to do both if you don't need to use them both? Sometimes you just have to walk away.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to
Devin said,
put a force on.
Devin said brutal honesty doesn't have to be negative. That's true. But some people that's getting that honesty told to them, they perceive it as being negative in some cases, not all, but in some cases.
And maybe they don't see the honesty as being negative, but maybe you or the delivery of it is being negative. Because truth is truth. Truth don't take on a negative or a positive. That's not how truth works. Truth is not polarized in that where truth is negative or truth is positive. Truth is just reality as known at that moment in time. And it doesn't take on one or the other. But it can make a person feel good or make them feel bad. If you make them feel bad, they equate it with being negative. If you make them feel good, they equate it with being positive, but it has nothing to do with truth. It has to do with their feelings. Truth
So
is truth is neutral, but how it make you feel, maybe. So I would say, again, let wisdom make the determination as to whether or not you should walk or talk, not whether or not you have the ability to do one or the other. That's because you can do one or the other don't mean you should do one or the other in all situations.
So at those particular times that a person may hear that truth, right? In that particular moment, if that truth is maybe an embarrassment to whatever that person is saying to him to expose that particular thing or action or characteristic, then that truth turns into a negative for the listener.
It depends on that person, you know.
It depends on that. Yeah, it depends on that person.
It depends on, because some, like I've had, you know, I had people have said things to me, and the honesty of it still created a feeling that I would have wanted to avoid. But, you know, truth is the truth. How you accept it or and how it makes you feel has nothing to do with whether or not it's the truth. It has to do with you and how you deal with the truth or brutal honesty, which is still truth that's being told at inconvenient times. That's what I would sum up as brutal honesty. It's still truth, but it's just being told at a more inconvenient time, right? So that would be somewhat my definition of being brutally honest. So there is a time where silence is golden, right? Your silence is worth more than your voice.
Yeah,
sometimes your silence is worth a lot more than your voice.
Let's ask the viewers, Doc. Have you all ever dealt with someone being brutally honest to you and it was truth and you got upset about it? And have you ever been in a situation where you was politically correct and you felt bad about it afterwards? Because just like being politically correct, not saying something, it that can weigh on you too. When you know you probably, after it happened, the situation happened, that moment, you used to go to yourself, you feel bad about yourself. Man, I should have said something. I feel bad I didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
Playing it safe. Man, I should have said something. So, Doc, how would you discern, or what would you tell a person to help them learn how to discern when and when not to be brutally honest and when or when not to be politically correct?
It's for me, it's somewhat simple, and I'm sure everybody out there, the listening audience, do this anyhow. It's risk versus reward. That's what everything in life, right? Risk versus reward. In other words, which one is more expedient? You know, which one is more expedient?
Yeah, risk to reward.
Yeah,
That's like trading, risk to reward.
That's a lot of people, right? We only take risks if the reward is big enough.
Yeah,
You know,
that's fact.
if the reward don't outweigh the risk, we typically don't take that risk. So that's just about everything in life. Even with when to walk and when to talk, it's risk versus reward. All decisions should be somewhat cradled within that line of thinking. All major decisions, anyhow, should be cradled in that line of thinking: risk versus reward. You know, what is it going to cost me if I do this, or what could I gain by doing this? And a lot of people look at the gain. What is my gain for doing this? You know,
Yeah.
or what could
Yeah,
I lose if I do this?
I would agree with you, Doc, because I know I've been in situations, many different situations like that, where people, individuals say something crazy about me and try to tarnish my name. And I look at it like, man, that's a lie. I'm not going to say nothing about it. I don't even have to respond to it because.
Well, we just got a note from our host, Miss Styles, Keith, that we done hit the hour mark.
Already?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
that went by quick.
Yeah.
Lord have
Wow,
mercy.
that was great, babe. Yeah, wow, that was good. I enjoyed just sitting here having this conversation with you. Wow.
Oh yeah, same. Hey, same here. I thought it felt like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or less.
I'm glad Keith's keeping an eye on the time. So, well, hey, look, we've got to get ready to wrap things up then. But
absolutely.
But again, I just want to let the audience know we're going to be live out in Vegas, Super Bowl week. Yes, and it's going to be epic. We are excited that Doc and Bay show is on the road. And so we're going to be out there, and certainly we try to get some good footage out there, and maybe have a nice backdrop when we do the show. But we're going to do our best to make sure that we represent Hidden Wealth very well while we're out there. So yeah. But babe, this is a great topic tonight. Great show. Man, yeah. You made me think a little bit because when do you be politically correct and when do you be brutally honest, right? So hey, I think it's a time and place for both, right? Risk versus reward. Know when to walk, know when to talk, right?
Yes, sir. And just for an announcement, if you haven't joined the society as of yet, we have a special $99.95 to get started. You can get started Hidden Wealth Society. We had a great year last year, so we want to start off this year with a bang of a discount to make sure everyone has the opportunity to join the family. And we're looking forward to 2024. Happy New Year's. This is our first Doc and Bay show of the year, and it's going to keep on getting better and better and better. Go ahead and share, like, comment, right? Make sure you hit the notification buttons because we're going to be putting a lot of reels out from the shows. We're going to put a lot of content out that's going to be well worth taking your time to watch. Because I know Doc is going to drop a lot of wisdom on us all, right? I'm going to do my best to do what I do.
But you too, my brother. You too.
Yeah. I want to do my best to do what I do without being brutally honest.
Yes.
And we're looking forward, and we're happy. We're grateful. And just know, you've heard the statement. Right, it's a small world, but it becomes even smaller when you think big. Right, and that's what this show about: thinking big. And when you think big, you go big. So just know this show is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point you can say, "I remember the first 4 shows." Right, because this is our fourth show. Right, this is our fourth podcast. Right, fourth.
This is our fourth show.
Yeah, our fourth. Okay. I would say our 4th or 5th. I don't know. Keish can let us know.
Yeah.
Our production, that's our production manager in the background. She can let us know what's going on, how many shows we've done. But
she do an amazing job. To keep
Yes.
us in line. It ain't easy to keep us in line, babe. You know it's not.
Yep.
You know we
I
be
think,
all over the place.
yeah.
We be all
She said, I think fourth. Yeah.
Cause we be all over the place, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to let everyone know, enjoy your weekend.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we'll see you all on the other side in our next show. And that's live from Vegas, right? Right,
Yeah, let
Doc?
everybody know that we're gonna be live in Vegas, and but we're gonna be keeping the announcements going because we want to get as many people on as we can while we out there and enjoy some of that energy from out there. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So, with that said, listen, ladies and gents, put a smile on someone's face, starting with your own. And as always, peace, love, and freedom.
Sir.